Okay.
Yeah.
That looks fun.
Namaste.
A salami, brother. Can't release this.
All right. And welcome back to yet another episode of What's on the Fourth Floor? Most likely your favorite podcast produced by UNL physics students.
It's the only one
got
I can think of.
Yeah,
We've got that going for us.
If you're specific enough, you can get into the Guinness Book of World Records pretty easily.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what we got going.
I'm calling them up today. All right. Our first segment, like always, is What's With That?
We should
And-
probably introduce ourselves first.
I'm Carter Walford, by the way, in case you were wondering.
I'm Carson Green.
Just in case you haven't recognized our voices, I'm Ethan Goobles.
Together we form Shape of Carcer.
Voltron. Oh,
Voltron.
I want to be Voltron instead.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
maybe we should explain Carcer.
Carcer?
Carcer?
Yes, since
Well,
we're all here.
Nobody knows how to pronounce Carson, so they all
No,
say
specifically
it Carter.
me. I don't know how to pronounce. I don't know how to like recognize or distinguish you two, even though you guys look entirely different. You're
It's
both.
true.
I will often refer to one or both of you by the other name, so I just have taken to calling you both Carcer. Nice combination between your names.
Exactly.
And whenever it's even easier, because if we do something, like the two of us are doing it, you just have to say one name. And
Yep.
it, like encompasses both people.
Get the whole shebang.
Anyways, we're like 2 minutes into the recording.
Should we
and
start the
haven't
podcast
actually
now?
started anything.
Should we start?
Let's go ahead and get started.
Let's start with our famous first segment. What's with that? Do you have something, Carter? Because I
I
also
do.
have something.
And I want to start with, a couple what's with that's follow-ups.
Uh-oh.
First of all,
Follow-ups.
follow-ups.
Gotcha.
Because, and I'm gonna.
Is this a new segment?
It might be.
What's
with
with
that
that
follow-up?
follow-up?
What's with that? Follow-up. So, a couple episodes ago, which is not currently released, which is interesting. It was the podcast crew was myself, Jacob, and Jesse. And the
Correct.
question of, would you rather take $20,000 guaranteed or a 20% chance at $200,000 came up? And I was the only one who took the 20% chance. And, and I do it because statistically you're better off. You get, $40,000 on average when you divide by the 1/5. And they didn't like that. They say, well, I would say if we had this choice 1,000 times, obviously you'd go with the higher statistical one. And they said they didn't like that. They said we only have it once. And here's
If you
my
had the choice
reasoning.
1,000 times, you could take $20,000 guaranteed 1,000 times.
Yeah, and you would be statistically like worse off. You'd get less
Yeah.
money because you're getting on average $40,000 a pop.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So you play your
And
chances for the.
Here's my reasoning that I don't think was explained very well. And I'm gonna cheat. I'm cheating
So-
now because they're not here.
We are the choir to which you are preaching.
Yeah, you are the choir. Yes. So
Because I probably would agree with you on this. Not my conversation.
throughout your entire, I sort of went into this, but not very well, and I want to explain myself here today. Throughout your entire life, you're going to be presented with choices like this. Not this specific choice, but over and over, opportunities like this are going to arise. And so you can treat your entire life like you are making this choice countless times. And so in each individual time it happens in your life, the correct practice is to go with the higher statistical chance.
Okay.
Because on aggregate, over your entire life, you'll be better off this way.
Okay.
I can see that.
So that's my quick bit of follow-up. I don't think I articulated that very
So the
well.
statistical likelihood of you not dying on some sort of commute to some place between walking and driving a car,
Mhm.
you would have to choose walking every time.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
But it's at, then you have to.
but then you might as well just not leave your house at all.
I
Because then
think-
even walking
think,
has
yeah,
a
we're getting
disadvantage
at
to
some
it.
point you're willing to risk some amount. You're
No,
willing
you
to-
wait. No. You have to have a limited number of choices. So if that's not part of the choice, if you have to go to this destination,
At some
and your
point,
only choice to get there is walking or driving.
you can accept a risk. It's like if I get,
Okay, so you can accept the lower, or I don't know, how
Yeah.
would you say it?
but it's sort of the
The
opposite.
higher
in
risk
this.
of dying
You
or
are
whatever.
paying for certainty. I will pay money on average. I will lose out
Mhm.
for each individual choice to be certain that I'm not going to lose.
Okay.
But because, over your entire life, you do it over and over and over, that's just sort of, it's the lower odds outcome play. So that was me.
Okay.
Then we went into, this was a different podcast. I think it was me, myself, Taylor, and Rebecca. And the question, no, it was myself, Rebecca, and Claire. And the question of, you have a set of choices, 4 options, and we were both guessing pretty much randomly. And is there an advantage to who guesses first? If you're both going to guess from the pool, and after the first person guesses, if they're wrong, you tell them. You say that one was wrong. You now have less
You have
choices.
less.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So would you?
first of all, just off the top of your heads, which one do you think? What do you guys think? Because I did the math.
Would have the advantage.
Which had the advantage?
I'd say the second one.
The second one?
Yeah.
Because they get less choices.
Yeah.
But they might lose out right away. There's a...
Oh, there's the likelihood that the first person guessed the correct answer the
Correct
first
answer.
time.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay. Which one would I choose?
Well, the first one then, because I feel like the second one would have a more biased opinion towards it, because they're like, well, they picked this answer, so there's a chance they got it wrong. It's like, I don't know.
If the first person knows if the first person got it right or wrong.
Hold on. So the second person knows the first person got it right or wrong?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
then
obviously,
wouldn't-
because the game wouldn't, or the choice wouldn't still be up for grabs if
yeah.
the first
so
person
then
got
wouldn't
it.
the second person have a better chance then? Because
You would think so.
Would
right? Because then, I mean, if the other person got it right or wrong,
Yeah.
then if they got it wrong, you know that you have less.
It's a
answers to
25% chance versus a 33% chance.
Okay, I see.
I would take the 33% chance.
So
I
it
think I would
actually
too.
sort of algebraically and categorically does not matter, no matter how many choices you have.
Really?
You'll both have always the exact same odds. And sort of the math is pretty easy, actually. So the first person has a 1 in however many choices you have
Correct.
hmm
to win. And the
Mhm.
second person has 2 things have to happen for the second person to win. The first person has to get it wrong right
Yep.
off the bat.
Oh, okay.
So they have an x minus 1 in x chance
Okay,
of
gotcha.
that happening. And then they have a 1 in however many options minus the one that was wrong. So they have an x
Okay.
minus 1 in
Yes.
x times 1 in x minus 1. So the x minus 1s cancel out, and it reduces to 1 in x again.
We're doing algebra in the air here.
Yes.
Which,
Well, I see where you're going. So basically, when you factor in the second person's, the second person doesn't simply have a 33%. If there's 4 choices,
Because
doesn't have a 33%
you have
chance.
to take account for
Because
the
you-
fact that
yes.
they could get it right, and
you
you
also
have no
have to
choice
factor
at
in
all.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
so when you factor that in,
so
it algebraically doesn't.
how do you guys feel about that outcome? That there is no proper strategy. It does not matter categorically who guesses first and who guesses second.
Hmm.
When I first discovered this,
It'll make me feel better in the trivia round.
Yeah. When I first discovered this, I thought it was cool at first, and then I was a little sad because it's like I went through the work, of trying to figure out what the optimum strategy was, and then there isn't one.
There isn't one.
There isn't.
So much for your picking the greatest chances
Yeah.
for every choice that you come across in your
It's
life.
impossible sometimes. Sometimes you just have to flip a coin, which isn't 50-50, so I don't flip coins.
What do you do then?
That might have to be a topic for another day.
I was gonna ask. Okay.
Okay, so finally, start the podcast, I guess.
Why are we starting
We've
the
started
podcast?
it once, twice.
Would you two rather say every thought that comes into your head
Ooh.
so that the closest person to you can hear it, or never say anything again?
See, this kind of brings
Never
up
say anything.
what I was about
again.
to say before is like the call of the void,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like you just get those random dark thoughts in your head where it's just like, or okay, like with the most classic examples, the one where you're driving and you have the steering wheel and you're like, I could just move the steering wheel to the left.
Yeah, or if you're at the
Or
edge of
to-
a cliff.
Or
and
if you're at
it's
the edge
just
of the cliff, you're like, I could
just
just
jump. Yeah.
It's like, I feel like every now and again that would like bite you.
Yeah, I'd much
like,
rather not say
Yeah.
anything.
Because every now and again your brain might just think a weird thought and you're just like, you say it and you're like, Oh.
Suddenly becomes very real.
Yeah.
Here's where I'm at. With those thoughts, we're talking about them right now. We know everybody is in, like, there's some solidarity. Everybody does that. So I think if you have to say everything you ever think, you could explain yourself afterwards
I don't think
to
so.
the person. You could
I
be
don't
like,
think
it's
so.
not that weird.
No.
Everyone does that.
No, I think you'd
no,
very
'cause-
quickly become an outcast.
Yeah.
If you're the only one in our population that does that.
But you could then explain it's like, I have to. It's a medical condition. I have to say everything I think.
Yeah.
So,
But then I
feel
don't
like
think
would
people would stick
understand.
around.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're on the podcast, right?
Yeah.
You're just sitting here, you're talking podcast, and like all of a sudden, boom, thought pops in your head.
And
You
I
just
say,
gotta
I say,
say it right
Carson's
here
an
and there.
idiot.
Yeah, he
And
has
I'd
it.
be like,
Yeah, I don't.
I think Carter has it.
I'd much rather not say anything at all. It comes back to well, okay, wait, you're talking about verbally saying something,
Yes.
correct?
out loud.
Okay. Yeah. But we could still communicate in other forms.
I also think that only it can be quiet enough that only the closest person to you can hear it. And so if you're just always around someone who like gets it and understands you, you keep them around.
See, then
keep
you're
them the
guarding.
closest
You're
person to
guarding
you.
yourself
Yeah.
by keeping yourself close to only particular people
Yeah.
and
See?
further away,
And then
proximity wise.
Can you always be around one person?
I mean, I could always be around a small subset of people,
Okay.
or completely on my own, in which case it doesn't matter. I wonder how that works with
It's
the
just
question.
some guy a
Like,
mile
yell,
away,
yeah,
just
you have to
like-
yell super loud. No, I think if they're not in the same room, you're good to go.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would rather not talk. I feel like that would just cause too many issues
Right.
over
Right.
time.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of scenarios. This is kind of another, well, it builds off of that, but this is kind of another what's with that. I think in a lot of situations, you should almost definitely not talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's more of a how other people see you kind of thing. I like the phrase, I think it was Teddy Roosevelt who came up with it. Talk softly and carry a big stick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think in a lot of situations in life that really applies. So that's why I would definitely be okay with not talking for the rest of my
You
life.
would just carry big sticks.
I would just carry big sticks.
Just a whole
Exactly.
bag of them.
It would almost be a benefit to my personality.
Okay.
I feel like I could turn it into a benefit at least. Even though it would be a
I'm on the
medical
side of
condition.
not talking.
All right. I'll accept. I'll be the outcast on this one.
Really.
I'm still on the side of saying everything. Just because that would make your life interesting, and you'd never be boring again.
I just imagine you
Right.
meet
Right
your
up-
life hero. You're just like, I've wanted to meet this guy forever, and then you just walk up to him and just say something. He's like,
That was dumb.
yeah. He's like, what?
But then you could say, I physically have to say everything that comes to my mind. And then he's like, oh, really? Tell me more about this. And then you
No,
start a
no, that's not how
conversation
people
with
are
your-
normally like.
No,
People are not going to be curious and wanting to know more about your medical condition. They're going to be like, when are they going to take him to the mental hospital?
Yeah, please go away.
Any day now.
You're gonna be in the bottom of his CIA place somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Listeners, write in. Back me up. Come on. You're on my side. Someone out there is.
Someone's got to be.
Someone always is. I wish Jesse was here.
Oh, you definitely would not be
Not
on your
me.
side.
Okay.
I've got a what's with that.
You've
if you
got a
don't
what's
have
with
one.
that? By all
Um,
means.
Yes, and it is definitely. Well, we've talked a lot about your social. I don't know,
Be
peculiarities.
careful,
Peculiarities. Let's call them that. And
don't
I
think they're
suppose I
peculiar.
have one, but I don't think I'm the only one that has this. I really do not like passing someone who's walking slower than me on the sidewalk. I think it's embarrassing. Not embarrassing, just
like
awkward,
embarrassing.
just
Feel-
weird.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like me telling them like you're way too slow for me, or like you're
Yeah,
not
it's-
good enough for
it
me.
is
Yeah, I
as
don't
if-
So I'm
think
passing you.
I don't think people care that much.
I
I
guess
just think it's weird.
It's like I wouldn't just walk up to this person and say, "Hey, you're slow."
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what this is. That's what you're doing.
That's exactly
when you
what
go
it
out
is.
And walk around.
And
them.
when it's a group of people, it's even weirder because
Yeah.
then I'm just like awkwardly trailing these people. Well, or I could awkwardly be trailing one person. It's awkward both ways. But You just
maybe
can't have
maybe
it.
I just don't think that far into it. I just think if I see people walk past me, I'm usually busy with headphones in, looking at my phone or something.
right,
Or if I
mean,
pass somebody
having
else.
headphones-
See, here's the thing: is that if I'm walking slow because I'm just like walking from class or whatever, I'm like tired. It's
Not
like
excited to get to
yeah,
class.
you know, it's just like I'm just like tired or whatever, and it's just like I
In
have
no
headphones
particular
in.
rush.
I'm not, no particular rush. I'm not paying attention to anybody else. If people want to fly by me, I don't care. So I assume in my head, that everybody else is thinking the same thing as me.
Yes, but
Everybody else is just sitting there busy with their phones, on their earbuds.
So
not
here's
paying
the scenario,
attention.
and here's the one that I run into most often that I dread. I'm crossing the street, okay? I'm walking my normal pace. I'm a very fast walker.
Yeah.
I'm walking my normal pace. Someone who's already on the other side of the street, like, rounds the corner and walks in front of me. So now they are in front of me. We're on this 3-foot wide sidewalk, and I don't know, they're just a slow walker, or they have shorter legs than I do, and they're moving not at the same pace. And neither of us are on our phones or have headphones in, and there's no one coming, so I could pass if I wanted to.
Then
What
pass
do you do?
them.
Yeah.
No, it's just weird.
You pass
It's
them. Nobody's
weird.
gonna
It's-
care.
I mean, it's even weirder to like be walking behind them, but like
I
awkwardly
know,
close
so
because they're slow.
I have
It's-
I'm telling you, I really don't think anybody cares at all. If you walk fast, you walk fast.
I think it's an impossible situation. There's no correct answer, and
Well, I have a 4-foot or less rule. If I'm within 4 feet or less behind them, it's weird. I have to keep my distance away
so
from
you
them,
like
and
slow
then
up. You'll
yeah,
ease
I'll
off.
slow up.
I
So
just
then
pass
now they're
Just
making
pass.
me walk even slower to make sure I'm further behind them. Yeah, I just don't like it.
You
I
think,
don't like it.
You
It's
guys think way
the
too.
situation is
I think Ethan thinks way too far into this. It's walking. Everybody walks.
no.
If-
Carter understands.
If someone's like kind of far away, they're like 30 feet away, and you can tell you're walking faster than them, like you're catching up, will you think ahead and be like, I should walk a
Yes.
little slower?
I do it all the time.
Yes.
I do it
That's
all
crazy.
the time.
I just walk. Like I just forget everybody else exists and I just walk.
I'm envious.
It's
of you.
super
I
easy.
also look for those instances where there's like a distraction or something new happens in our little scenario and gives me the opportunity to walk around them without them
where this
noticing.
disruption wouldn't be noticed as
Mhm.
much. So, in sort of the same vein, I have a question for the two of you. If you are walking somewhere and you realize you have to turn completely around and go the opposite direction, will you?
I hate that.
Man.
Will you? Oh, because a lot of people do this. I do it too. I take out my phone
Yeah.
and look at it and act as if something has just come
Yes,
up. And
I
I
do
need to
that
turn
yes,
around.
I do it all the time.
Why? Why do people do?
It's
why
just
do
because
I
I
don't
do it?
know.
I feel like it's more of just like a knee-jerk reaction now than me actually thinking about, oh, I should do something so people don't think I need to turn around.
I wouldn't want people thinking I need to go the
Wait,
other
so
direction.
Yeah.
you do this, Carson?
You do?
No,
do
I mean it's a knee-jerk reaction. I don't consciously think about it. It's just like my brain just immediately reaches for my phone to look
When
at
you
it
have
and
to turn around.
You
Yeah.
feel like so you've like done this for the first time at some point. You know?
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah,
I've
maybe
done
at
this-
that point you did think like, oh,
No, yeah,
I
at some
need to take out
point
my
I did, but
phone.
now it's just a knee-jerk reaction where it's like I don't even think about it. I just reach for it and look at it.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I don't like that
But
situation.
it's like the first time you did it. You know, what were you thinking?
Yeah,
That I need to look at my phone first.
Well, I think it's like because then you could be like,
like
or,
somebody
like,
just
have-
texted me and said like, "Hey, get
Yeah.
back here now" or something.
yeah. Have
like
you ever
that.
like been like annoyed too? You like look at it and you're like, ah, and then you turn around.
I mean, he
I've
put
done
on a
that,
show.
yeah.
He
I'm
put
just
on a
like,
little
put
bit
on
of
a
a
show.
show.
man.
It's like no one's gonna notice this.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah.
But you do it anyways.
Yeah, it's like I see people do it, and I'm like, they probably aren't checking their phone for anything, and they turn around. So
Yeah.
it's like nowadays, if you check your phone, people are gonna be like, you
That's-
forgot. You
That's
have
an
to
even
turn around.
even more reason to not do it because everyone knows what you're doing. They're
Exactly.
like he didn't get a text.
Exactly.
He's just going the wrong way.
I suppose so.
And I have an awful sense of like direction and where I'm going. I end up walking the wrong way and having to turn around a lot.
When I have a new building, like I have Old Father this semester, I like always like for the first week I passed it, and then I was like, oh, I gotta go back. Like I would just constantly pass it, like I was going to some other building, and then be like, oh, gotta go back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I have new classes, I still like to this day. We're 3 weeks into classes,
Yeah.
right? I still will go on my phone when I'm on the way to class and look at like the time in the room. I'm like
Yeah.
make sure that I'm still going to the right place.
Yeah.
It's the paranoia.
I've already done that once. So on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I have linear algebra in Avery at 9:30, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have circuits in Jorgensen at 9:30. So I have a class at 9:30 every day of the week. And I was worried when the semester began that I was gonna like mix up one of these days and go to the wrong class.
Yeah.
Lo and behold,
Yep.
I packed my bag for linear algebra like I was supposed to, and I went and I sat in the classroom in Jorgensen for circuits until 9:25. It was 5 minutes before class when I realized, wait, no one's showing
No
up.
one's here. Oh no.
And I
Oh man.
dart across campus. So with that, I think that was the end of our What's With That segment. That was a good one today.
Yeah.
Really, real relatable. #relatable topic.
We're taking care of all the problems.
Who knows?
That's what
We
we're doing.
might even rehash some of these on
Future podcast.
or What's With That revisited segment.
Look forward in a podcast near you.
And we're back with another segment of What's in the News. I guess I just kind of threw that one together. In the news? What's in the news?
In the news.
News. The Newsies. The musical.
What's
You
on
guys-
the news?
Maybe this has to actually. Maybe all of our segments should start with what's, since it's what's on the fourth floor.
Oh man, look at this guy. He's coming up with big ideas.
What's with that?
Big
What's in the
ideas.
news?
Well, we can't
What-
keep saying this. People are going to steal it.
Yeah, what do we even have meetings for?
what do we even talk about? At
We just have meetings on
Nothing.
the podcast.
Nothing.
Talk about circuits.
We did. We also
You got
called.
those RLCs, you got those RCs, you got
We
those
also phoned
LCs.
Carson in because
And he
somebody
he
didn't
was
show
making
up to the meeting.
eggs.
I was making bagel bites this morning.
He was this morning.
This
Yeah,
morning,
I
yeah.
was making eggs on the
Carson
phone
is
call,
our
though.
Carson is our resident chef.
Apparently.
I am the
during
chef.
during our official meeting, he was just making some eggs.
Let's talk about the news. I have a news article that I would like to talk about. Some exciting news that happened. Let's see, what's the date on this article? Just recently, end of January. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but an amateur astronomer recently discovered a NASA satellite that was been lost for 12 years. Have you guys? Did you guys hear about this?
No.
Nope.
No. Okay. So this amateur astronomer was searching for traces of the secretive Zuma mission launched by SpaceX, and I don't know if you guys heard about that. Happened a
It was a
couple months
secret.
back. Yeah, but it didn't. It didn't make this Zuma mission supposedly didn't make low Earth orbit, so the launch was a failure.
But they just lost the
Supposedly.
satellite?
No. Anyway, that's
Okay.
that's what he was looking for.
Yeah, they were doing that.
He
and
was
they found
looking for
something
that
else.
because he
Okay.
didn't like. I don't know. I suppose he thought it was some sort of conspiracy or something because it was a military
As you do.
operation. So he's looking for this, and he comes across a different signal and found out that it matched the signal of NASA's long-last satellite called Image. Apparently, it was launched in 2000, and it worked perfectly for 5 years, and then suddenly it stopped responding to NASA's
We lost it.
commands.
You gotta,
Yeah,
you
so
gotta
we
tell your
had no idea.
supervisor at some point. It's gone. Lost it.
It was declared in
Sorry, guys.
2007 to be the mission was officially declared over with.
Oh, okay.
After they tried doing different things to locate
Mm-hmm.
it for 2 years, and then all of the
Seems so odd to me that you can just up and lose the satellite.
I don't know how. Yeah, I
Is there-
suppose you can though because it's
I
like,
mean, you can, but it's just so odd.
Is your satellite running? You better go catch it.
Ooh. Oh no. Oh. Okay.
okay.
I don't know how to come back from that. I'm sorry, listeners, but
Yeah, so they declared this satellite a
moving
complete
on.
loss. They completely retired all of the software and hardware that was used to communicate with it, and then lo and behold, this guy, and 12 years later,
Do we have a name for
finds
this
it.
guy?
Yes, we do. Scott Tilley.
Scott Tilley.
Scott
Who's
Tilley.
You're a
based in
gentleman and a
Canada.
scholar.
I think so. I think that's the guy's name. Yes.
No one will know.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, how much do satellites go for?
Bunch.
Yeah, they're like
I-
what?
I've been perusing the market lately for a satellite.
They gotta be a lot of money to just lose one.
A couple.
Yeah.
So so NASA, once they confirmed that this was indeed their satellite, they jerry-rigged some of their equipment and software to start communicating with it again, and
Nice.
it's still going as if nothing ever happened.
That's awesome. Does it? Wait. So how did he find it? He was just like looking through a telescope. And he was like, "There
No,
it is."
I'm sure he was like looking for signals or something. Maybe he got like a signal back from it,
Yeah, I'm assuming.
and it was like an I.
I'm assuming because they call him an amateur astronomer. I'm
Mhm.
assuming he was like doing radio.
Yeah, I would assume some form of
Astronomy.
communication and just
Found
got a
it.
signal back.
Looking
and-
for aliens, that sort of thing.
Specifically looking for Zuma.
Looking for Zuma.
Failed.
Isn't Zuma like an
military.
exercise?
Is it? Yeah, it is.
Program?
It's like a
Isn't
It's like a. Oh man, Zuma's like one of those insanity type workout things.
Zuma.
Yeah.
That's
What
what,
am
they're
I
doing up
thinking?
in space.
Yeah, they're up there. They're.
It's Zumba.
I mean, yeah,
Zumba.
Zumba.
with a B.
Zumba exists. I don't know.
Zumba Fitness.
What's a silent B in this case?
Zuma.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a silent B.
Just like in the super moon, the super blood blue moon.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That was a tough one.
Super blood blue moon.
It's Jacob, our own host,
Uh-huh.
coined superb moon with 2 B's because then it's super blood blue.
Superb.
Dude, shout out to Jacob. That
Yep.
was clever.
That was very clever. So yeah, exciting news from the field of astronomy. That's what I had. Did you have?
Does he get like a bounty? Is there a bounty on
They
the?
don't say, but I'm sure he got a nice letter of thank you from NASA.
Gee, thanks
Yeah.
for finding our I don't know, millions of dollars for a
Millions of
satellite.
dollars for this satellite. Yeah.
Thanks for
This-
finding
Well,
that
by the way,
for
the
us.
satellite image was initially launched to study Earth's magnetosphere. So it was studying the magnetic fields being produced by the Earth's molten iron core.
He could have held it for ransom. Be like, I'll tell you where your satellite is. You
Held that
take it-
information, I suppose.
I got my finder's fee, 7%.
That's a lot, I bet. I'd be fine with that.
He could have done it. He could have.
He
But
could've.
anyways,
He lost out on that opportunity. He's
What a-
obviously not a businessman. He's
Just a
just an
decent human
astronomer.
yeah,
being.
what a sucker, am I right? He doesn't listen to what's on the 4th floor. Otherwise, he'd know how to maximize these sorts of things.
Yep.
Anyways,
Mhm. You
were-
had no,
you-
that was the end of my
you were
article.
segueing into my news article.
Or Carson had one as well. So
I had one as well. I can
Question.
have one
You
as
can
well.
have one as well. I
He
don't
could
know.
look one up
I
while
have
I
one.
talk
Yes.
about my news article.
We will have that happen.
So, helium is
Second element on the periodic table.
second lightest element in the universe.
Correct.
There's a bit of a problem on Earth in that when you let helium out into the atmosphere, it floats away into space and then it's gone forever. Helium is a non-renewable resource.
Is that what happens to my birthday balloons after
Yeah.
I let them go? They go
Yeah,
into space and then they're gone forever.
Well, I mean, they pop eventually, and then the plastic parts fall back to Earth. But
You don't know what you're talking
I
about.
don't.
Carter.
That's like because there's space debris is a problem. There's just
Yeah,
a bunch
it's
of
because of the
balloons.
birthday balloons.
bunch of balloons
Flying
out there
around.
flying around. Anyways, so according to this news article, the sort of all the helium. Well, first of all, we get helium by mining it. It's sort of in the natural gas vein of things you get from underground.
Wait. We mine a gas?
Yeah, you mine. Well, that's how you get natural gas. You mine it. It's
Yeah.
underground. and
Okay, that's considered mining.
yeah.
I didn't think that was considered mining.
Helium
but
is a natural
do
gas
you drill for
produced. Yes, you drill for it.
it? You drill for helium?
And then if you mess up the drilling for helium and it like escapes, it's not like oil, it shoots out the top and then it rains down. And you can collect it.
Yeah, it's
If
just,
you miss the helium, gone forever
yeah. That-
into thin air as it was. So all the helium on Earth
yes.
Uh-huh.
that's trapped underground
Right.
just
is a
leaving.
product of like radioactive decay from the center of the Earth.
Mm.
Like sometimes things decay and they shoot off
Oh.
helium atoms, and then those helium atoms
Gotcha.
build up.
That makes sense.
And so, according to this article, there are about 8 years of helium, which was published in 2017, mid 2017, April 2017, if you will.
Okay.
There are about 8 years of helium left on Earth, and then we will be out. There will
It's
be no
actually
helium
fast.
left.
I wasn't expecting that.
Well, I knew that we had helium issues, but holy
Yeah,
crap.
this
It-
is a massive, this is a problem. And this, I'm switching over. Oh no. Instead of switching over to the tab that I wanted, I deleted it and hit the little X.
Oh boy.
So now my news
Well,
article is gone.
Helium's
Helium-
expensive, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotta be. Price of helium. Can look it up now. Let's see.
Going to be gone in
Well,
8 years.
that
though,
was
that's
a
lot
problem
faster than I
in
thought.
the helium in the other article that I was looking up, is that there is in the United States, the largest helium reserve on the planet is in the United States, and it's in Amarillo, Texas. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And there is a sort of government United States law that all of the helium in that sort of reserve must be sold, was to be sold by 2015. And so that for a very long time, the helium prices from coming out of the largest reserve were set like stupidly low. Like they weren't decided by the
okay.
market at all. Helium was way
Oh.
underpriced. And
So that way it could all be
They were just trying to
sold.
get it out of there.
yeah.
And now it's.
Oh my gosh.
And
Dang.
a sort of scientist whose name I'm about to find out, Professor Richardson of the U.S. National Research Council, was setting prices of what helium should be priced at, and was saying that, the amount of helium that you put in a party balloon,
Yeah.
helium party balloons should be worth like $100 if, these things were
Like
actually
a single balloon?
Yeah, if these
Oh,
things were
wow.
actually based on the scarcity of helium.
Yeah.
But because of this sort of artificial
So what are we gonna do?
pumping
Where
it
are we
all
gonna get
out
our
there.
helium for our
Well,
balloons?
first of all, anybody.
No, we should just-
Cryptocurrency is kind of sketchy, but you want to invest in some helium.
Yeah, just
Now's the time to do
stock
it.
up. Buy all the helium you can, and then
8 years from now, you're going to be rich.
it's Twinkies all over again. You just stock them up, and then
yeah,
they stop making up
yeah, exactly.
$10,000.
Yep.
Yeah. See,
So there is no solution we have right now.
Because you can't. The ways you make helium are radioactive decay and nuclear fusion. So, and we can't. we can't speed up the first, and we can't sustain the second.
Yeah.
But eventually, if we do come by, fusion reactors being popular, there you go. Solution to the helium problem.
it will become the waste product of our energy.
Yeah.
Of our energy reserves.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. This sort of this.
But then the problem
scarce
comes with that
resource.
is what do we do with the waste of the nuclear reactor?
No. Like the waste would be helium.
No, I'm saying like when the nuclear reactor's dead and we have to replace it,
Mm-hmm.
what do we do with that waste then?
Oh, it dies once you reach iron. Once you reach iron, you no longer get energy out of fusion reactors.
Mhm.
That's what happens. But we wouldn't continue fusing
Then you just have a bunch of iron.
You have a bunch of iron?
because you get
Yeah.
you get helium by fusing hydrogen together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't keep fusing the helium. You would get less energy out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hydrogen.
So if you found a way to sustain that hydrogen
Okay.
fusion, there wouldn't be a point in trying to fuse helium because you wouldn't
the
get as
issue, of
much
course,
energy
being
out
that
of it.
hydrogen has the same problem in that it escapes the atmosphere when it's
It
released.
does, but
So
there's more hydrogen though.
it is the most abundant element in the universe.
Yes.
So that would be
How
that
much
would be a
hydrogen do
problem.
we have on Earth?
if the
I was
most
gonna say in the
abundant,
universe, it's probably mostly in the
Yeah.
sun.
mostly in
Or for our solar system.
Yeah.
In the universe,
Oh,
it's just
oh,
in
oh.
our sun.
most of the hydrogen in the universe is in our sun.
I'm gonna find out. Ooh,
Well, we
is it
could
in
just
the
start siphoning. We could suck it off of the sun,
Mm,
take your hydrogens.
that'd be.
That's interesting.
I was gonna say.
I don't know if you could do
Because
that.
isn't that like the next step once we harness all the power on our Earth?
Is to
once
go
we can
for, like, the
go
solar
for the
system.
sun? Yeah, the solar
Mhm.
system.
Yeah, we've
It's
talked
different
about
kinds.
this.
That's how they classify civilizations.
Civilizations
Yeah.
classes. Yeah. If you tried to extinguish the sun by shooting water at it, it would burn brighter and hotter.
Hydrogen is so abundant on Earth. I was not thinking of this. Duh, because it is the crucial ingredient for water.
Mm.
H2O.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All
so
right.
every molecule of water we have on Earth, we have 2 hydrogens. So
Which
there
you
we
could
go.
make a helium out of.
Yes, and you can actually
Get
make
rid of all the water.
you can separate hydrogen and oxygen from water at home if you wanted to.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
You need
Um,
some cashions and anions.
Yes, and for those of you that are not familiar with those
Yeah.
terms, you need a positively charged electric terminal.
Yeah.
Just take a battery,
Yep.
connect, and put both terminals into some water, and the current flowing between the two terminals will break apart the hydrogen-oxygen bonds, and you'll get hydrogen oxygen out of it. I've done it before.
And
Really cool.
once you have hydrogen, you fuse it into heliums, and then a selection of things that you require helium to work. MRI scanners,
Oh.
airships, rockets, rocket fuel.
Yeah,
There's a lot
rocket
of helium
fuel.
in that.
Oh my gosh.
Telescopes. There's
Wait, rocket fuel doesn't burn hydrogen? Oh, sorry. No, it does. We're
Yeah.
talking about hydrogen.
We're talking about hydrogen and helium. There's some helium component of rocket fuel, as well as being used to clean out rocket engines. Helium is used to pressurize the interior of liquid fuel rockets.
To pressurize, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, because helium can't be a viable rocket fuel source
would
because
not react.
it wouldn't react with anything. Helium is a noble gas.
A noble gas. That's why it won't be used like this anymore. It is done.
It refuses.
This age of oppression is over. No more helium in your balloons.
I refuse to be a part of your ridiculous schemes.
And things like sort of bomb tests, like radioactive. I don't want to say Geiger counters, but like things that detect radioactivity.
Yeah.
There's helium in those.
Really?
So those would be, a thing of the past. We'd have to find a new, because we ran out of helium because it all went into party balloons and flew off into space. And it's a problem that no one talks about. It's 8 years.
8 years is no time at
yeah.
all. Yeah.
That's a massive problem. And no
What are
one
we
worries
gonna
about it
do?
because it's still cheap.
Yeah,
You
there's
can go
no-
out and
how-
buy
how
it.
Yeah,
is it
it's
that-
so cheap that anybody can go out and buy a party balloon
Yeah,
set
tank
that has
of
a helium
helium.
Yeah.
container in it.
Yeah, think of all those people who have
Mm-hmm.
like all that helium being wasted by people breathing it in.
Yeah, I
and
sit around
saying
and breathe in
funny-
helium, and it should
funny
be that should
noises.
be like $100 activity.
Yeah.
It's not.
Are there going to
Nope.
be like drug dealers for helium now?
I got your helium.
I got
That's
your
like this
helium
big-
for you.
A big black market helium dealer.
Yeah.
I mean, I could definitely see a black market helium when
That's
it runs out.
Yeah.
That'll be the end of civilization when we run out of helium.
You think so?
I don't think so.
I
No.
was like, wow, that's a big step there.
By the way, the types of civilizations.
We have talked about them, but to
we have
recap,
we're type 0, right?
Mm-hmm.
because we have not fully
Harnessed
harnessed all the energy sources on Earth.
Yes, and so if you have fully harnessed the energy sources of a planet, you are type 1.
Yep.
If you are able to harness the energy sources of a star,
Of your solar system,
Solar
most
the
of that,
solar
too.
system,
most of that
which
being
is
the
mostly
star.
the star.
Mhm.
That's type 2. And then what's the last?
Your home galaxy.
The entire galaxy would be type 3. I can't imagine how a civilization would be able to
Harness the
harness
galaxy.
the energy of a galaxy.
I don't know.
Build a wall.
You just surround it. Oh boy.
I mean, that's how you harness the energy of a star. You build a
Mhm.
Dyson sphere.
While we're actually talking about this, I actually have a kind of cool news article that came up just recently. We found one of the oldest stars in the Milky Way recently.
Really?
This was February 2nd, the article, so it was literally yesterday from when we're
From when
recording
we're
this.
recording this.
Nice.
But it is 13.5 billion years old,
What?
approximately.
like-
That's what they're
So
determining.
this is one of the first stars.
Yeah, it's
To
in the
exist.
universe
For-
to
yeah.
For what people
exist.
know, it's 300 million years after the Big Bang. So
This
in the scale of time, it's
Yeah.
almost nothing.
It's
so
like-
this has to be a really small star then.
It let me check to make sure here. It's 70% the mass of the sun. So it's still pretty large.
70%. How is it still around?
Oh
this is
yeah,
this is
'cause
incredible.
It's still burning. I mean, is it now 70% of mass?
Okay,
That's
so
It
just
says
just
here-
as
It is extremely deficient in calcium and iron. And it says that it has a large abundance of carbon, nearly 15% more than the sun. So I believe that means it is on like the later end of
Yeah.
its life.
it is on the latter end of
Yeah.
its life. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
presumably, if it's as old as the universe.
Hmm.
That's how our sun will die. By the way, yeah. So just as some context here, our sun is 4.5 billion years old. This is 13.5
This is 13.5 billion years
billion
old.
years old. Our sun is 4.5 billion years old, and to our best estimates, the sun is halfway through its life.
Mm-hmm.
And you said how many million years after the Big Bang?
300 million years after the Big
300
Bang.
million years, not even a billion.
Yeah.
This
It's
is really
amazing,
important
really.
stuff because it tells us the behavior
Information.
of the early universe. Because
What the starting conditions were like.
yeah, that's hard to come by. So we think we have a good picture of when stars could have formed, the earliest possible date they could have formed after the Big Bang, and then we find stars like this, and it really throws into question what we think.
Also, just real quick, I don't have the article up, but I can post it in the show notes, or we can post it in the show
Yep,
notes or something.
we'll
But
put it in the
there was
show
an
notes.
article saying that like they found these paleontologists found bones, and the bones on the planet were basically saying that like they were.
Was the planet Earth?
It was planet Earth, yes. Just for anybody curious. But they basically were saying that that the dinosaurs that they found were alive way earlier than they were expecting.
Okay.
So it's kind of changing what they think about the solar system now as well from these dinosaur
Really?
bones. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, about solar system or just about life on Earth?
They
And,
think
like, the
they think
eras.
possibly the solar system like development. 'Cause
Okay.
they think it may have the bones they found. They think could have like shifted how early life actually started on Earth.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll put some more information about
Yeah.
that in the show
In the
notes.
show notes, because that is these
Crazy
are
stuff.
groundbreaking topics.
Crazy stuff. Well, in the
A lot of-
meantime,
A lot of
we need-
important news here today on
Yeah,
what's on the
extremely.
floor.
let's take a quick break. When we come back, I will have a trivia game for us to play.
Go buy that helium.
And go buy that
Stock
helium.
up.
Stock
Yeah,
up.
Invest in helium.
And we're back from that fantastic break. I hope you had a good time.
We certainly did.
We certainly did. We are ready to go for the trivia now. I think we're in a good mood.
I
What?
hope they had a miserable time during the break, because they're not listening to us, and we need to associate these breaks. When I'm not listening to what's on the fourth floor, I'm having a bad time.
Carter, that's not how you
That's
get
how it
followers
works.
and
Yeah.
listeners.
I'm gonna follow them around and like.
You don't hope they have a miserable time, okay? While they're listening to you talk about your thoughts.
Well, not now. They could be having a good time now. It's just like when they
Just
stop.
when they had the
like,
break?
When they
Oh.
get done with the podcast, or like in a couple hours. I hope you guys.
We're
get
the
some,
only thing that sustains them.
Yeah.
I want you guys. To
They're
get some-
addicted to our podcast.
I want you to get some bad news in a couple hours.
Okay.
Dang. Okay.
Oh man, this is going great.
All right. Let's
hear we got
let's
a
just do it.
game.
Let's do the game.
To lighten things up a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. So you know what I said earlier about every segment should have what's? I don't know how to make this one into what.
What's the game?
What's the game?
There we go. What's the game? The game is things we once thought was science.
Okay.
Okay.
It'd be were science.
So I meant to say were science, but I said it incorrectly. Let's just start from the beginning.
and that's
Let's
the
start from the beginning.
game.
Carson, what did you
What's
say?
the game?
The game is things we once thought were science. All right, so this is just a simple trivia. I'll ask questions. Each question has a little bit of a story with it. There'll be multiple choice, all except for the last one, and we'll rotate between you two. Okay? So
I'm ready.
who's gonna get the first question?
Me.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. That's
Oh, you're
right.
There is
It doesn't
no
matter.
percentage
Okay.
difference.
First question. Hippocrates, often considered the father of medicine, pioneered an early version of what we might call psychology. In this theory of human behavior, human health, appearance, and disposition were all controlled by what? This is Carson, by the way. A. The more manipulative gods. B. Bodily fluids. C. The human heart. Or D. Magnetic fields. So again, this is in Hippocrates' theory, human behavior, health, and appearance, and disposition were all controlled by what?
Okay. Human health and all that were controlled. I don't think gods.
So you're eliminating the manipulative gods.
Yes.
All right.
Body fluids is kind of weird enough that it like could be the answer.
Okay, so we're keeping that one around.
Keeping that one. Heart is kind of generic.
And magnetic fields.
Magnetic fields is a little too sciencey.
Did they know about magnetic fields
You tell me.
Era of Hippocrates.
I'm gonna go ahead and say bodily fluids.
Is that your final answer?
It is.
Correct.
That would've
It
been
is
my answer,
bodily
too.
fluids. Nice job. You get 15 points. And you're keeping track of your own points.
I'm not
was,
keeping track.
That was a meatball. That was an easy hit.
All right.
15
So
meatballs.
let's see what Carter can
That's
do.
a baseball term, isn't it? I'm not insane. You throw a pitch that's easy to hit. That's a meatball.
I'm not a
Someone
baseball
back
guy.
me
I'll
up
find
in
out.
the
We'll find out.
comments.
Yeah, please tell us. I need
a
to
swing
block
and a
my
miss
screen
there.
here. Okay.
But you hit. B7.
Are you ready?
You sunk my battleship. Yeah, go on.
Carter.
Great.
Okay. So it was thought that these bodily fluids, called humors, existed within our bodies, and that the lack of or excess of one or more of these fluids was the cause of certain ailments.
Oh.
In that spirit, physicians often center their treatments on regulating the humors. These consisted of sanguine, also known as blood, phlegmatic, phlegm, choleric, bile,
Mm.
and what? A, euphoric, B, ascentic, C, okay, I can't say it, exercidium, or D, melancholic. Do we need to go through those again?
I can. The first one was
Euphoric.
euphoric.
And
I
then
could go through what all of the real bodily fluids I might think be connected with these words. I'm going to
Okay.
skip euphoric. What was the next one?
accentic,
Accentic?
I think
don't
I
know
said
that either.
accentic
There
first,
was an
and-
exercise something or other.
exercidium,
That could be like sweat. I could see that. Exercidium is like what they would call sweat. And the fourth one was
melancholic.
melancholic. That could be like tears. You know? I'm just looking at all the fluids that.
Okay.
that
Yeah,
make it-
because so far we've listed there's four humors,
Mhm.
and we've blood, phlegm, bile, and what?
And what? I'm gonna go with. What was the first one?
Euphoric.
Euphoric. I'm locking in euphoric.
Do I get
Final
a chance
answer.
to steal? I'm sneaking in there.
Sure.
I would like to say beforehand, my second guess is exercise.
That would be my guess as well.
All right, so we've heard from both of you. It is not either of those.
Oh my goodness!
I got
We're so
you
bad at
good.
this. Yeah.
I got you good. It
Was
is
it-
melancholic,
Melancholic.
also known as black bile.
Ew.
Oh.
I'm not for sure what black bile is.
So you got bile and black.
Because normal bile is yellow, so that was also known. So choleric
I
is
like
also
the,
known as yellow bile.
The narrative we got going on with this.
I
description
did tie
section.
those two
Good
together.
job.
It won't be like that for the next one.
Oh,
Oh, there
you
you go.
set the
So
bar
stu-
too high. Yeah, it's like I'll be disappointed now.
Sorry about that. All right, so no points for Carter.
Ah, bummer. That's all right.
Let's move on to the next one. Carson. Mercury has a notably peculiar orbit, which led 19th century scientists to posit that there was another planet between Mercury and Venus that caused the planet to behave this way. Led by the renowned mathematician Urbain Jean-Joseph Le Verrier, this school of belief led to the widespread sightings of the non-existent planet all the way up until Le Verrier's death in 1877. What was the name of Le Verrier's imaginary planet? We have A, Vesta, B, Diana, C, Vulcan, D, Minerva.
I don't think Vulcan.
Okay, we're eliminating Vulcan.
We have Vesta, I think.
Keeping Vesta.
We have Minerva.
Minerva.
And what's the other one?
Diana.
Diana. So not Diana.
Oh, we're eliminating Diana. So
Yes.
Diana, Vulcan, gone.
Next to it was in between Mercury.
Mercury and Venus, so the two innermost planets in our solar system.
Which is kind of why I stuck with the M and the V, I think. I'm gonna go with Vesta.
Locking that one
Locking
in?
it in.
My
Okay.
guess would be Vulcan
It is not Vesta, it is Vulcan.
because it's next to Mercury. It's like the Greek and the Roman version of. That'd be Hephaestus. So I'm wrong. But
wait.
something like that.
All the planets are the Roman gods.
Yeah.
Except for Earth, obviously.
Not Roman. They're
Or it would be Terra.
Greek.
What?
They're Greek.
Well, they're
No, they're
Greek
not.
gods, but the Roman
Mercury's
names.
Greek.
Mercury is Greek?
Mercury's the original Greek one, yeah.
I did not know this.
Or is it not? I
I'm
don't
looking
think
it
is
up right now.
actually.
We got to make sure.
No, because it's
I was just looking at a list earlier
it's
today.
Hermes. Mercury's is Hermes.
There you go.
I'm dumb. Anyways,
Yeah,
Vulcan.
you're in Greek.
But like Vulcan's a Roman god. That's why you guessed Vulcan.
Okay.
Well, all of these were Roman, by the way.
Oh, were they?
Vesta, I made sure to make sure
Ah,
they were
bummer.
all Roman. Roman. I wasn't gonna give you a hint. Okay, so no points.
No
5 points because that was a good guess.
Nice.
So good guess.
5 points.
You're
It
still
wasn't
up.
even a guess.
No,
I
I
knew.
Just checking our time. Okay, next one. It was once thought, again by people such as Hippocrates, that certain illnesses. Wait, this is yours, right?
This is
It is
Carter's.
mine.
That
Must
certain
score
illnesses could be contributed to foul air. It was thought that harmful plant or animal exhalations, as well as tiny bits of airborne decaying matter, were breathed in by humans and led to diseases such as cholera, chlamydia, or the Black Death. What was the name of this obsolete medical theory? Was it A, miasma theory,
Okay.
B, I'm going to get this wrong, Malkylie theory,
I'm reading Carson's face. He knows.
C, Kakos Aras theory, or Kakos Aras, just Kakos Aras plain,
Bad air.
or deadly breeze theory.
Going with Kakos Aros.
Kakos
That's
Aros.
bad air. I don't. Aros, I'm assuming, is air. Kakos is an adjective.
What are the other
It's
two?
bad.
The other ones, so
The
we've
other
got
two. The
Kakos
last
would
one
be
I don't
like
really
deadly
think.
breeze. We've got Malkylie theory or
It'd be
miasma
an
theory.
Adverb though. It'd be like
I'm gonna
air
go
badly.
I'm gonna go the first one.
Miasma?
Yeah.
It is miasma theory.
God, what
Woo!
a joke.
No
Coming in
points for
clutch.
Carter. And if I'm going to keep this playing or continuing with my point totals,
One extra
5 for
meatball.
you.
Steals.
You stole.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
stole.
5. So you're at 20. Nice job.
Wait, he's gotten two.
You
wait,
got the
I got
first one
one
right.
right.
That was a 15.
That was 15.
Okay, I didn't know.
Next
Got some
one.
catching up to do.
Apparently.
It was once thought, Carson,
Mm.
that all objects had a proper place. Oh, I butchered this sentence.
Good.
It
That's
was once thought that all objects had a proper state of being that they always wanted to return to. This idea was used to explain motions of things like a rolling ball that eventually came to a stop. Along similar lines, it was thought that a piece of shot dropped from a ship's crow's nest would land some distance behind the mast of the ship, because I lost this behind the mast of the ship because as the ship moved forward as the ball dropped. Jeez, I can't read. Who came up with this incorrect model for motion? Was it A, Archimedes?
I was like, oh, okay.
Just
my next one doesn't have a multiple choice, so that's why I got
Oh,
confused.
no.
Was it A, Archimedes, B, Aristotle, C, Euclid, or D, Ptolemy?
Archimedes.
Archimedes. He's locking that one in.
I'm locking it in.
That is incorrect.
Archimedes' last words were, "But first let me finish my problem." And he died.
I did not know that.
Well,
That's
might-
last
he didn't
words.
finish that
He
problem.
didn't. He might have. I don't know.
That got lost
You
to
got a guess?
history.
Aristotle.
It was Aristotle.
The Aristotelian. It reminded me of Plato's forms, and I was like, Aristotle and Plato knew each other. Maybe, I don't know.
All
history
right.
that well.
So the next one is a
Do I get my
continuation.
5
You get your
points?
5 points. What are you
Oh,
at
we're
now?
10, baby.
Ooh. You're at 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you get this
Well, he
one.
can
I
get
do.
this one.
Ooh.
Aristotelian motion persisted. So that's what this
That
is.
was
Aristotelian motion.
motion.
Aristotelian motion persisted for centuries until what famous scientist tore it down? You don't get choices for
I
this
don't
one.
get choices. Was it? So the scientist I know of that has some experience in the motions
Mm-hmm.
has a few laws
Oh, okay.
named after him. So that is the only base point I have. This is my only guess,
Gotcha.
I think. So would that be? Wait, how long did you say? What was the question?
Aristotelian motion persisted for centuries until what famous scientist tore it down?
Okay, it was centuries. Was it Isaac Newton?
Is that your final answer?
That is my final answer.
It was not Isaac
What a
Newton.
joke.
Whoa. Okay, so then.
Riot.
You already won.
Yeah, that's true.
But what is your guess?
For the pride.
I'm gonna go with the one and only Barney, the dinosaur,
Barney
the purple dinosaur.
Wait, I want another guess. I'm gonna guess.
What? You don't get another? Okay,
yeah,
you already lost.
Get
But
another guess. Was it?
5, 4,
I don't know.
3,
Who it was. No more guesses.
It was the one and only Galileo Galilei.
Oh, I knew that. Yeah,
I didn't
Proved
know
that Aristotelian motion was incorrect.
that was in my mechanics.
I was like Kepler was rattling around in my head. I was like,
That was the other one I was
Wait,
thinking of,
Kepler?
but I just
Maybe.
it was not.
no.
No, it's not a maybe. It wasn't Kepler.
No, it would have been a good guess,
Oh,
though.
okay. All right.
It would have been a good guess. Isaac Newton was a good guess as well. But no, it was Galileo. So with that, Carson is our winner today.
At least either way, Carcer wins.
Oh, that's right.
no. Hold on a second here.
With
All right.
something this important, I don't think you can call it yours or mine.
Oh,
It's
okay.
our win. No, we did it together for the good of science.
No, I won't.
We'll end the podcast and you can argue till
communism.
doomsday. And with that is the end of our show. This has been What's on the Fourth Floor. What is on the fourth floor?
What is on the fourth floor?
Zumba.
Zumba.
A lot of
That's a
Zumba
class. All the
dancers.
professors. They do their
It's a Zumba class for our professors.
And,
Yeah.
And they have, but they do it like after breathing in helium. So
Oh.
like the grunts are really high pitched.
Yeah.
They got a stockpile up there.
They all huddle around their god Zumba.
Zuma.
The God
The
Zumba.
secret military project.
Zuma.
It's actually capturing.
Hello? If you're still here, it's because you're looking for more. If that's the case, check us out on Facebook at What's on the Fourth Floor and Twitter at OnFloor4. Again, that's Facebook, What's on the Fourth Floor, Twitter at OnFloor4. That's at OnFloor, the number 4.